And of course, that's Coach Engin Firat calling a spade a spade. Brent, I'll begin with you. But first, what do you make of Engin Firat?
Engin Firat may end up being the king of doublespeak. Because on one end, he says we are not a footballing nation. He says we don't have talent. But at the same time, when the same team that does not have talent, because it was not long ago, when we played against Zimbabwe in Uganda and we managed the draw, his sentiments were really demoralizing to the team. So for the team to have performed well against Namibia a few days later, then now he wants to take the praise for it. He should get serious. I mean, if you are in charge of a team, it is you to make sure that you build the team. We have seen coaches, we have seen basically teams that are acknowledged. Senegal, for instance, you cannot mention the team without acknowledging the coach that they do have, because the coach plays a role in how the players will end up performing. So I think it's time he settles and be an encouraging factor, because you look at the kind of players that he has, most of them are very young. They need a father figure in that dressing room. So if the coach cannot be that, then it's high time he also just tells us what exactly he wants, because you cannot be taking glory when they perform well as a coach and want to talk down on them when they don't perform. Yeah. But now on to the performance. It is good to see that we are actually able to deliver without our traditional names, because looking at this squad, it was a fairly young squad. Experience was there, but at the same time, we're able to see the Odadas, we're seeing Joseph Okumu. That is the power of proper scouting, because if you look at Marcelo and Okumu, they played for the same team at Kakamega. Right. So that is the kind of power that you have when you do proper scouting and make sure that you expose them. Marcelo at Gor Mahia was a product of when our league was out there, when our league would attract the big names, he was exposed to playing with other big names. He
walked straight from Green Commandos into Gor starting 11. Into
Gor starting 11, and he has maintained that mojo. Joseph Okumu, he keeps on shining. We have Avire. Avire has been good. Anytime, he's a true definition of Ukipewa perform, because we would see Avire surrounded by scandals about his movement, his transfer and all that. But whenever he has a team call up, he will show up. So I think it was good for us to see Harambee Stars perform without Olunga. Harambee Stars perform. I mean, it tells about where we are headed as where we're headed with Harambee Stars as a team. So with proper structures, maybe if they're able to host, if we're able to have fans fill up Nyayo Stadium, and have Harambee Stars play there, I think it would do a lot for them.
Shitera, our next call or next assignment is facing the indomitable Lions. At the moment, we top that group on 4 points, and of course, Cameroon also have 4 points. How do you foresee that? And of course, Firat has fired a warning to the Lions. Do you think the Stars will get the better of the Lions? And what must he really do ahead of that game in terms of tactical plan and in terms of prepping the boys for that assignment?
The Lions are beatable, and Isia thinks that I will not heap praise on FKF. When they do good, I will praise them.
Who has said you would heap praise?
When they do good, I will praise them. Now listen to this. Now listen to this. Yes. I want to congratulate FKF for consistency in as far as the national team is concerned, because they have kept faith with the Engin Firat. Since the time he came in, so many questions were raised about a coach who is coming from a country that...
Was it Moldova?
Moldova, that does not understand football, a coach who has come without a win. But I said, listen, give him time. And I think I and FKF now share a table that
you're taking the praise.
When you give him time, he'll be able to perform, and he has proved so many people wrong, include so many people who are on this set, that this is a coach who has not only nicked a win away against Namibia. I was with this year on a show where they all predicted that against Namibia away we have lost. And I told them, look, we have not lost in the last, I think, 4 matches. We have no reason to blame the coach. In fact, we drew against the African champions, Ivory Coast. So why are you blaming Engin Firat? Please give him time. And I think Engin Firat predicted this. when they were training at Police Circle Stadium, Engin Firat said, if we come back home with 4 points, I think we'll be okay. He has exactly done that. He drew away against Zimbabwe and beat Namibia away. Those are 4 points. So I think we are on a very, very good trajectory in as far as the national team is concerned, and missing our very, very dependable players, including our lead striker, Olunga. So many people asked, and even I did a story asking, why did Firat go with 5 midfielders in a game that we will have easily won against Zimbabwe. But he gave an analysis that this is a team that really sits deep and will really frustrate you. And we saw that even against Cameroon, that Zimbabwe really went for a draw, a 0-0 draw. So in this case, Kenya have the advantage, and it is the highest time as Kenyans we rallied behind our national team and our national team coach, and the federation for that matter is here.
Absolutely.
To ensure that we qualify for 2025 AFCON, so that in 2027 when we host, it will not be about automatic qualification just because we are the hosts. And 2025 is within reach.
Kenya, let's hear from Kenya first before it goes to the scoreboard. But Kenya, 2 slots up for grabs. So Morocco 2025. We have Namibia there, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Cameroon. From where I sit, there's really nothing that differentiates or makes Kenya stand out over Zimbabwe or Namibia. Many actually presume that Cameroon will automatically be the group leaders, and maybe number 2 is up for grabs. But based on those 2 matches we've played, do you see Kenya convincingly heading to Morocco?
Yeah, this is not a very common thing to say about Harambee Stars, but I'm very confident with them making the AFCON 2025. The reason is we now have 4 points. Cameroon are not in a very good state when it comes to their political issues, you know, administration.
They suspended their coach.
They suspended their coach, McBraze, and it's not all well in Cameroon. I think this is the time that Kenya can take advantage of the wrangles happening in Cameroon and nick a win against them. You saw Andre Onana's interview after they drew with Zimbabwe, saying the only team that is, you know, sort of which is a threat to them is Kenya. And what Engin Firat has said is very important, because he's psyching his boys up, saying if we have a full squad, then they will see the real Kenya. That is the kind of spirit that we need in camp. You know, the spirit that he had when he said that, when he was directly criticizing some of the players, saying so-and-so Shitere is not good enough, so-and-so is not, you know, up to the standard that we're looking at. We need a coach who believes in the team that he's leading, because then if you don't believe in those players, how then do they go on and perform? We looking at, I would say it is in our hands, because we've gotten 4 points. We next face Cameroon. If we nick a win against Cameroon, then that is going the group. We're going to be, you know, top of the group and so much in charge of that group, because all we need now is maybe secure a draw against Namibia and then win against Zimbabwe, which is doable, because we very much, you know, sort of lost 2 points when we drew against Zimbabwe. If we had a fully fit squad, if we had a, you know, a good strike force, I think that's a match that we would have won. So I think really it's good time for Harambee Stars to get that slot to 2025 AFCON.
Let me say that number one, we congratulate Harambee Stars. I've just told you, ladies and gentlemen, that in a wedding, you don't cry about heartbreaks. So this is a time of celebrating that we won, and we are on course of qualifying for Morocco 2025. That's number one. Number two, and this is a point of information to my good friend Shitera here, is that when people have raised issues about our coach Engin Firat, it's not about, you know, hatred or anything. And I support him, by the way. He's doing a good job. Is that, you know, in a day of raising questions, let people be. The only thing, and one day I remember in a press conference, I told Coach Engin Firat, and I told him, don't read too much, because that's how Kenyans are built. The day you do good, they celebrate you. The day that you don't do good, they are going to tell you the truth. Now, the questions that Kenyans were raising after the Zimbabwe game was that we did not show any attacking mentality. And we fielded a lot of midfielders. Our strikers were benched, and we could not attack well. When that one changed against Namibia, the results are there to show. Because Jonah Ayunga, much as he did not score, he kept them, you know, at their toes. during that match. Then number 2, of course, Avire. And I celebrate him because after that long absence since the 2019 incident, he has done well. Now, Swila, there is an elephant in the room that nobody is talking about Coach Engin Firat. Coach Engin Firat has said again that Kenyans are always criticizing him and he's not paid. Now, this is a question I raise. Have we forgotten what happened with Bobby Williamson? Have we forgotten what happened with Adel Amrouche? So that we are here talking about qualifying, but we have Engin Firat who is not being paid. He can one day find a good deal outside Kenya and go to FIFA and say, you know what, I've not been paid. And that one may cost us even participating with penalty. He has quite a big backroom staff. Not only the locals that we have, the likes of Muluya and Ken Odhiambo, those guys from Turkey, making sure that it is paid so that we don't give him excuses of saying, by the way, I did not win today, but remember, nafanya kazi ambayo ni ya kanisa. I'm not being paid. You understand? It's very important. That matter arose when Ababu Namobo was there. Now, you remember it is the responsibility of the government to pay the coach. We need to be furnished with details enough. Kwani contract yake ni nzito namna gani kwamba hailipiki? Because one day, that idea of failing to pay him in time and the lawyer is here can cost us even participating in top competitions. Now, to finish, whether we have a chance of qualifying, yes, we have a very good chance of qualifying. I've always told people that, birds have learned to fly without patching, and the shooters are shooting without missing. The level of competition in African football, the traditional powerhouses nowadays,
it's longer.
Can be beaten by anybody. That's why we have Nigeria being beaten by what we would call small teams. Senegal not leading in a group where Sudan is, and all that. So basically, we are optimistic, and we are hoping that we'll be there in Rabat 2025.
We are optimistic, and